So as a DevOps engineer here, we should create a repository and we should give the access to each and every developer, and we should take care about managing the code in centrally. So the complete code management is our responsibility. As a DevOps engineer, we should take care about the source code management activity. So from the source code management, as a DevOps engineer, you are the responsible to take the build. So under the build process, there is a compilation, code compilation, unit test executions, even test suite or test scenarios or execution, even code analysis report. Everything will be happened under the build process, and finally we'll get the output either jar, var, er or dll files or tar files or gif files. As client request, we will take the output. That output we will push to the build server or any of the binary repository in cloud environment such as Nexus or JFrog Artifactory. And from there we can deploy into different environments, either in cloud environment or local infrastructure. That can be happen through the automated build jobs using Jenkins or any of the CI/CD tools. Okay, so we'll go through one by one. So that initial state we have to thorough about how do we manage the code centrally. So how do I create a repositories? How do I give the access to each and every users? So let's discuss about this part. To manage the code, there are some third-party tools available in the market. Either we should go the tools as client request or project requirement. There are multiple tools available in the market. VCS version control system, CVS concurrent version control system, SVN is a subversion, GIT, Bitkeeper, Perforce, Clearcase, Synergy, Mercurial, so many, PVCS, QVCS, so many of the softwares available in the market. But out of these, most popular tools are SVN and GIT. So these two are very popular, but these days compared to the SVN, GIT is most popular and 60% of the projects is running with the GIT. Even old projects such as built by the SVN, now these projects also migrated into the GIT. So now slowly started migration activities from SVN to GIT. Let's see how and why GIT is more popular. What are the advantages? Okay, first most thing, why should we maintain the repositories? What is the purpose of the source code management? SCM, source code management. The main intention to manage the source code in one location, the first most thing is the version control system. Managing version control system. What is version control system? Okay, we'll discuss again. The first point, to manage the repositories, version control system is the one cause. Second one, manage the code in central location. In central location. So in a one place we can manage all developers code. That is another cause. Here multiple developers are working in a one application. Maybe 50 developers or 100 developers. So maybe 20 developers, 20, irrespective of the count or irrespective of the language. All developers working in a one application. In olden days, as a architect or manager distributing the task to each developer, maybe one module is working another one two developers, another module working one two developers, like such a way distributed work, and they started working and they will keep their code in their location itself. Olden days there is no repositories, so they are keeping their code in their location itself. The fine day, either weekdays or 10 days or before the release, as a architect or as a manager, consolidate each and every developer code. While consolidating is nothing but an integration of the code. That integration of the code by collecting from each developer, it's a very hectic task. Cannot able to integrate, many conflicts occurs, so the architect or manager is the responsible to clear the conflicts. Why? Because all the developers, maybe some developers working in the same files. Developer A working in a same file, developer B also working in the same file. So in such a scenario, it's a difficulty to integrate the code. So maybe we will get the conflicts. To resolve the conflicts is a hectic process, and it takes a more time to integrate the process. So in that reason, everyone looks for avoid such a way and looking for any other solution. For that came with a source code management, managing the code in a central location or managing the code in a one path. That can be possible with the code management tools by creating the repositories. So in a way, this is the one way to manage all developers code in a one place to avoid the integrity or avoiding the consolidating and integration activity. Now it's very simple. Developers are the responsible to integrate their code in a one place. So there is no conflicts occurs here, or no one should spend the same time to resolve the conflicts while all developers working on a one repository. This is the best way. Okay. In another part, why do we manage the source code management or repositories? Another reason, the powerful reason is a version control system. So in another way to manage the source code repositories, version control system. What is version control system? What is version control system? Okay. Version control system used for to track the changes. For each and every change can be properly recorded and properly update the metadata that can be trackable. So whose changes, who made the changes, what time so changes was happened, and what type of changes was happened. Everything can be properly updating in a repository metadata. So this is a very much useful to track the developers changes. But approximately there is a 20 to 50 developers working in a application. They are working with a repository. So we cannot able to track each and every developer changes, what he is doing. We cannot able to analyze their work also. If at all there is a version control system, we can able to track each and every developer change, what he is doing and what he done today, how much work he finished, what time he finished, how many changes he done, what impact to my application. Everything can be tracking properly using version control system. Either we can say the version control system or revision control system. What is mean by version control system exactly? What exactly? So version, you might aware about everyone in daily life or any application we are using the version. Android 4.0 version, Android 5.0 version, Android 6.0, 7.2 or something latest version. What it mean by the version? For any new change occurs in a project or application, we can give a new name called a version, either number or the name. It means you cannot give the version the same changes. You cannot keep or you cannot give the new number for the same application. If anything changes happen, then you can give the new version name. The latest changes in Android 7.0, many features are added, then they will give a new version. So here intention is the version mean new changes on existing one. So in our daily life also, either knowingly or unknowingly, you also managing the versions. For example, if you create a one profile or if you create a one document today, you give the name as a one something called so resume or profile. So just you posted your profile, you created a profile and posted in your job portals. So still you waited for 2-3 days. No response received and I modified something. After 2 days, you will be modifying something and you added some changes. Can you keep can you delete the old one? No, because it was circulated already. You don't want to delete the existing profile. You just keep the existing profile along with the new profile also. So here you should give the name You maybe give the name as profile 1.0 or something, or you will give the naming convention with the date, today's date or yesterday's date or tomorrow's date. After 2-3 days again you will change something, again you will give a new name called so new version. Such a way you are managing your documents or you are managing your profiles, or so wherever keep changes is happening, and you should be managing the old changes also. You will keep your old changes data and new changes data, then you have to managing in a proper way using the version name convention. So even here in our application, if you go to the Windows, in MS Office, if you go to the Windows, if you go to the MS Word, so what happened here, in MS Office also managing version control system. How it is managing version control system? So okay, MS Word itself having the version control system. How would I know? Just listen here. Guys, can you hear me? Ganesh unable to hear my voice.
No, now I am able to hear you. Yep.
Okay, Ganesh. No. So just observe here in MS Word, I am typing something, first paragraph. Done. I am typing second paragraph. Done. I am typing third paragraph. Done. Unfortunately, I deleted the second paragraph. So here, interesting part, backend version control system is running. Each change can be tracked and each change can be recorded properly in backend. So first paragraph, when I typed the first paragraph, that was stored in a backend cache memory. When I typed the second paragraph in the backend, so it will be stored as a new change, new version. Same time, it was stored as a new one. Third paragraph also stored as a version control system with new changes. When I erased, when I deleted the second paragraph, that change also been stored. Everything, whatever changes is happening, it can be recorded properly backend in cache memory. So it can be tracking each and every change. Unfortunately, I did something wrong, so you can be reverted it back again. How it can be possible? So when you press the Ctrl Z option, you can be reverted. When you press the Ctrl Z again, so you will go back to the previous version. When you reverted again, Ctrl Z, it will go back to the previous version. Ctrl Z, again it go back to the previous version. It means each change has a check mark. Each change as represents as a one version. Here first paragraph is the one version, second paragraph is the one version, third paragraph is the one version, and I deleted fourth paragraph or second paragraph, that is the fourth version. Here it created a 4 versions. When you go back to the previous version, you can get that previous version details. So I deleted fourth version. If you go back to the third version, what is the situation when go back to the third version? So 3 paragraphs are available. When you go back to the second version, what happened? Only 2 paragraphs are available. Go back to the first version, you will get only first paragraph. Go back to the fourth version, what happened? I deleted one paragraph. Only you have the two paragraphs. Such a way, version control system is managing. It means when you type first paragraph, that will be recorded in backend process is the cache memory, and it will be stored as a check mark with the timeline with the details. Some metadata will be stored on a version control part. So based on that metadata, it can be go forward and so move backward in different versions. So even when all developers are connected to the one repository and managing the code in a centrally, so tomorrow is my release, and everyone is pushed their changes and application is working fine. So these all my code is available. So my application is so finished and I tested properly. It is working fine and it is behaves well. And unfortunately, one developer intentionally have a grudge on the management, and he deleted all the code inside a repository. Anyhow, he has the access. He deleted code. When he deleted the code in a repository, that will be recorded properly. So even when management is looks for the repository code or repository application, so no code is available, then they can catch up easily who was made last change, on what time he was made, what happening in that change. Everything can be recorded properly. Management can be catch up easily. Not only catch up, so the management able to move backward to the previous version. The current version looks everything has deleted. So if you go back to the previous version, that has everything. It's not deleted in that previous version. You can go back to the previous version. So here also is the same thing. I entered all the things. So 3 paragraphs are there. This is the fourth change. Unfortunately, I deleted all the things. This is the fifth change. Fifth version contain nothing. If you go back to the control Z, it will go back to the previous version. It's the fourth version. Fourth version is having all the things. If you go back to the previous version, third version, it has only 2 paragraphs. If you go back to the version 1, it has only 1. In such a way, you can move forward and you can move backward. So different versions. It's a pretty interesting about version control system. Even something is deleted, you can easily catch up. You can easily understand what was deleted, what impact in the application that deletion. Again, you can immediately recover that part. That is the power of a version control system. Just assume here, if there is no control Z working in MS Word, 100 pages of content available. Out of 100 pages, unfortunately, selected Control A and deleted something was wrong and deleted everything. There is no Control Z option. Control Z means every change is recorded properly and placed inside backend as a version. Here Control Z means you are moving back to the version. Current change is the deleted everything. I don't want to deleted information. I don't want to continue the current version. I would like to go back to the previous state. How would I go? So using the Control Z here. The same situation is happening when all developers connected to the repository, and they keep changing in the repository. Something is went wrong and deleted everything. So how would I revert? How would I restore the changes again? That is a powerful concept, version control system that can be tracking each and every change with the author name, with the timestamp, with the changes also. What changes and which files you changed, everything can be recorded properly. That is the reason version control is very useful each and every project. That is the reason every project has the repository. These repositories are created any of the version control system. Now Git is very popular, so we'll go with the Git. Again, these version control systems are two types. One is a centralized version control system. Second one is a distributed version control system. Centralized version control system. Second one is a distributed version control system. What is centralized version control system? What is distributed version control system? If I create a one repository in centrally, this is one repository I created using centralized version control system. This is my repository, code repository. And all my developers are connected to the repository directly. Just assume these are all my developers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something. Here, all developers are connected to the repository directly and keep working on the repository. Good. Here, directly each and every developer working directly on the repository itself. Simple example, how we are working with the Gmail. For example, if you just think about this is the Gmail server. All Gmail users are connected to the Gmail. The same way repository also connected to the developers. Here Gmail connected to the Gmail users. When connection is happening, when you have the network, internet connection or local network or network, if you have the network, then only you will able to connect to the Gmail server. So if at all any network issue, something is wrong, either bandwidth issue or maybe a low bandwidth or completely internet connection problem. Then Gmail user cannot able to communicate with the Gmail. You are opening your Gmail in your system. In the mean, you have the proper network connection. You have the sufficient bandwidth. Okay. Always they should be connected live with the repositories. All developers on fly they will connect to the direct to the repositories. So there are 100 developers connected to the repository, and today as usual they come for work environment and the desk by 10 o'clock. Unfortunately my network was down. What happened? So it takes 2-3 hours to resolve. 2-3 hours in the sense all developers are directly connected and working on the repository. There is no other way to work with the application because complete code available in a repository only. So directly they are connected to the repository and working on the repository itself. There is no other way. If network issue occurs, then there is no way to work on the repository because this repository has placed in a dedicated server. Through that server accessing to the every developer. Now 3 hours are downtime. 10 to 1 o'clock is the downtime. 100 employees working on the repository. What is their position now? 100 hours into 3. 300 hours of valuable time was wasted. Client will not charge. So client will not pay for that because network issue is our problem. So every minute and every hour is calculated by the client. So each employee per hour $40 approximately or $25 approximately 300 into 20, $6,000 to $7,000. So can we get the effort or can we get the any productivity from the employees in the downtime, 3 hours downtime? No, we cannot get. They are simply sitting idle and we will not get any productivity from them. This is the problem. Either maybe network issue or low bandwidth. We cannot work properly with the network with the repositories. So for that reason, everyone is very cautious about the network bandwidth. Very cautious about so network issues also. 24/7 everyone, someone is working on the network also. So even in Gmail also, no network you cannot able to send or you cannot able to receive, even you cannot able to work on the Gmail. It's simply showing the so page cannot be displayed option. This is a centralized repository management scenario. So let me explain about distributed environment. So like centralized, distributed also having a repository. This is the distributed environment repository. I placed either in a dedicated server or in a cloud environment. Like the same way how I placed in a centralized management repositories. Here also I placed that repository in a one dedicated server. And there are multiple developers working on a repository on application. So these are the multiple developers. Just assume developers keep working with the repository. But in distributed environment, the good part is they will clone the same repository in their local. They can clone the snapshot of the repository. They are cloning their snapshot of the repository. This repository cloning the snapshot, same repository as it is. You can say the one duplicate repository that can be placed in their local. It means one remote repository available the same way one local repository also available. Developers working on their local repository only, not directly in the remote repository. They are working in a local repository. Frequently, as requested, the local repository and central repository can be synced. Whatever work happened in the local repository, that can be updated into the central repository as frequently or as requested. So this is the distributed scenario. Simple example, there is a Gmail server. You configured that Gmail server with your Outlook. In your local Outlook is there. If you configure Gmail server with Outlook, what happened? All Gmail, whatever is there in the Gmail server, everything can be placed in your local Outlook. Everything will be available in your Outlook. Even if you lose the connection, internet connection also, you can work with your Outlook. You can start writing a mail. You can compose the mail. And you can verify the old mails also. But only thing is you cannot able to send the mail or you cannot able to receive the mail. It's not required to every time to communicate or network between the central repository and the local repository. When it is required, when I made the changes, that time itself I want to update the changes into the central repository. That time itself it requires either fraction of seconds is enough. The whole day is not required the connectivity. Even if it all downtime 3 hours my network, so there is not impacting my productivity. All developers are directly working their local copy or local repository. When network issue is get resolved, so then that time itself that local repositories are syncing with the remote repository, and these all local changes can be updated to the remote repository. Simple thing. Centralized version control system is directly you are working with the Gmail. Distributed version control system is like configuring Gmail with your Outlook. How you are working with the Outlook, the same way distributed version control system. So this is the most powerful than centralized repository. Nowadays everyone is looking to migrate their source code management into the distributed environment. So that reason Git is most popular. The main reason Git popularity behind Git is the distributed environment, whereas centralized version control system is CVS or VCS or SVN or Perforce or some concepts are there. So as a course curriculum, we are going to discuss on Git tool. Okay, for version control system we have a two approaches. One is the centralized version control system, second one is the distributed version control system. So for that, now very popular in the market is the distributed version control system. For that we are going to start teach on the Git. Now, what is the Git architecture? What are the benefits for the Git? How to download and how to work on the Git? What is the Git history? So, first most point, how to download Git. Very easy task, and Git is the open source, not proprietary tool. You can download from the net. You just search Google Git download, enter. You can find the official website git-sem.com downloads. This is the official Git website. You just click on the Git downloads option. You can see official website Git. There you can find the Git logo also. It's a diamond shaped logo. Under the downloads option, here this download is relevant to the Mac. This downloads relevant to the Windows. If you looking for the download for Windows, click on the Windows. If you looking for Linux relevant download, you just click on the Linux. And Solar is also there. 4 different types of OS supported download files are available inside. And you can see the side there is a one monitor inside. You can able to see latest version release. This is for Windows. Why? Because they so emphasize this release. So why? Because this they are so stressing this word here separately. They are framing here. Most of 70% guys is download for the Windows itself. So that reason they separately made as a separate option. So here download for latest version for Windows. What is the latest version? 2.14.1. When it was released, 2017 August month, 4th date. Approximately 1 month ago, this latest release was happened. So version name 2.14 version. You want to download, click on download for Windows. It might be have 36.7 MB, not more than. It takes a fraction of seconds, depends on your bandwidth. I'm going to start to download now. So once you click on that, it gets started. So it will start automatically. So you can able to see here 35.5 MB of data size. It has finished to download. You can able to see here. Parallelly, you can also start downloading in your local machine. Git 2.14.64bit.exe. So download has finished. Go to that folder. Here you can see download. Just 36 MB only. Sorry, 35.5 MB. Now download has finished. I want to install Git. How? Double click. Very easy option. So if any confirmation is comes, just click on yes. The first screen, it's showing the general public license. Next, and it is showing all options. By default, it is not checked on the desktop option. Click on that. Then only you can able to see in the desktop shortcut. Next option. So leave it as a default option. Next option. Next option. Next. Everything is the default. Next option. No configuration at all required. Then press on install button. It will start and it will finish within a seconds. Done. Git installation is done. Very simple task. You can also download and you can install in your system. Git is ready in your local machine. You can see this logo, diamond shaped logo, four colored, blue, green, red and yellow. In between there is a branching strategy logo. So this is a Git logo. You can able to see in your desktop also. So my desktop looks very forest. It looks a forest. Then where is my Git? Yeah, here you can able to see. This is my Git. Double click. It seems to a normal command prompt. Here we have to apply all the commands to create the repositories, to create the branches, to giving access to each and every user. It's a client type version. So it works both Linux commands and Windows commands. Close that one. So any doubts, guys? Able to follow? We are going
Yes.
to stop today's session. So we'll continue tomorrow onwards. So let me know if you have any doubts or any confused or unable to follow. We'll discuss about the Git tomorrow session will be Git architecture and Git history and Git configuration. I just downloaded and installed what configuration is required. So we'll discuss tomorrow on those topics and we'll create a one repository tomorrow. And day after tomorrow we'll give access to each and every user and working on the repository with the different commands. We'll start working on that. Okay, thank you. I am done today's session. So feel free to ask me any doubts you facing. Yeah, Ganesh.
Hi.